So let's jump to it. First person that's presenting career opportunities by his own example is Professor Dr. Achim Streit. Achim Streit is director of the Research Computing Center, the Steinbuch Center for Computing at Karlsruhe, one of the largest scientific computing facilities all over Europe. He will bring to your attention some ways to become a master of computing. Before we start, Achim, to the crowd on the right side where the chat is, you will also find a button that's called FAQ. So if during the talk of Achim Streit and all the presenters later on, you have a question that you want to bring to the Q&A session afterwards, please drop it right there. I have to point out we have a little delay, so I read what you write 20 seconds after. So feel free to bring your questions to our attention during the talk. Okay. Finally, it's up to you, Achim. It's fantastic to have you with us to open the program. Me, myself, I was in Karlsruhe just last Friday, and I'm always very happy to see this great research lab. And the stage is all yours. Glad to have you with us.
Well, thank you, Andreas, for this kind introduction and also the nice opportunity to tell you a little bit of how I became the master of compute. And let me share my presentation with you. It's here. So I do hope that you can see my slides now. Yes, there they are. So, so the official program says becoming the master of compute, and I would like to sort of add the title here and add here also and data. I thought when I received the invitation, I was thinking, okay, what should I present to you? Yeah, I could tell you a lot about science, what we are doing, but I thought, well, it's probably more interesting for you how sort of my career proceeded since I finished school. Let me see. Okay, so here on the right-hand side, you can see a map of Germany, and you have already heard from Andreas Kosmieter that there are 18 centers in the Helmholtz Association, and this is what you can see here on the right-hand side in the map. I'm just using that map. My journey started at the University of Dortmund, which is located here in this at this green spot, and I studied there engineering informatics. So not pure computer science or informatics, but engineering informatics, which is a combination of computer science and discipline. In that case, I've chosen electrical engineering and also a little bit of economics there. So my focus already there was on interdisciplinary topics. And there you can see the title of my thesis, of my diploma thesis. So after 5 years, I moved on and moved to the University of Paderborn, which is about 100 kilometers east to Dortmund, in order to work there as a scientist in the so-called Paderborn Center for Parallel Computing. So it is a computing center, and it's about parallel computing, high-performance computing. And at the same time, I did my, well, you might say PhD. In Germany, you get a doctorate, in short, DR. So I was working there on 2 national projects from our national science ministry, BMBF, and there you can also find the title of my thesis. So I was continuing my research there in the domain of job scheduling for HPC systems and also distributed environments like computational grids. By the way, it's I'm probably not able to read all the comments that come in here. So if you have explicit questions, I will try to answer them afterwards. And it's difficult to follow questions here during my talk. So after I received my doctoral certificate, I stayed for 1 more year in Paderborn, and then I moved on to the Helmholtz Association, actually, to the Forschungszentrum Jülich, which is in the western part here of Germany. And there I became a staff scientist at the institute, which was at that time called the Central Institute for Applied Mathematics. A few months later, it changed its name to the Jülich Supercomputing Center, and a few of you probably know that institution. So there, I started working there with the task of getting familiar with the grid computing projects, mostly from the European Commission, around the Unicore software that is still, or that was and is still developed there in Jülich. So I wrote here, my task was to get familiar with these projects, which sounds like strange task for a new job, because there's a background to that one. Right on the first day when I started there, so it was in January 2015, my boss came into my office and I said, I'm gonna retire by the end of the year, 2005, and I would like you to be, he likes me to be his successor there as the head of the division by summer in this year. So I started a new job doing science, and then my boss told me, well, we changed plans. You're becoming a head of department here in 6 months. So then sort of it was a real jumpstart for me to get into this position. And then, well, I was the head of division. I became that on the 1st of July in 2005. And the name of that division was Distributed Systems and Grid Computing in the, at that time, then renamed Jülich Supercomputing Center. And in these 5 years I was working there, my responsibilities were, so first of all, in terms of content, I was responsible for the development of the Unicore grid software. I had responsibility for 15 plus people and also their families. And I can tell you from my own experiences at the beginning, it's a hard time to feel this responsibility for people and also the families behind that. I can also tell you I had sleepless nights there, I must say that. And well, my job basically was to acquire and manage the projects that we had, large projects from the European Commission. So at that time I was also traveling a lot across Europe. So it was usual to be like 50 to 60 days during the year on traveling. I mean, it's 1/6 of the days of the year, but if you consider that there are around 200 working days, I was traveling for 1/3 of my time. So as said, I was there in Helmholtz Center, and I also became then the deputy topic speaker in the Helmholtz program Scientific Computing until the end of 2009. So as you probably have seen, the research in Helmholtz is organized in programs, in large research programs with topics, and there was the deputy speaker of one of these in one of these programs. So that was the journey until then. What have been my experiences and lessons learned during these, let's say, 5 or 10 years from studies and working? And here are some quotes that I heard during that time. For example, you are too theoretical for the job. Yeah. So this response I received when I was applying for a job at another computing center in Germany, and they told me you are too theoretical, and I was completely astonished about that comment because I did not study theoretical computer science, but I thought, well, I studied practical computer science. I'm doing practical things here, so why am I too theoretical? The second one is this job advertisement was designed for someone else, yeah. But you convinced us we are hiring you too, yeah. So that was quite interesting. And then the next one I also received as a comment: don't be disappointed when you don't get the job. You are still so young. I can tell you, I have that job now, yeah. So what can you learn from this, or what have I learned from this? You should always focus and work hard. draw strength from defeats. Yeah. As always, a little luck is needed. And what is, I think, very important, find your own way. Be yourself. Don't impersonate someone. Yeah. Find your own style, your own way. Be authentic. That is, in my personal view, very important. And then on the 1st of July 2010, I moved again from Jülich to Karlsruhe, where I am today. I stayed in the Helmholtz Association, and on that 1st of July in 2010, I was appointed as director of the Steinbuch Center for Computing, and at the same time, a professor for distributed and high performance systems in the Faculty of Computer Science here at the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology. So here I'm responsible for all the big data and AI activities. In between, I was also responsible for all the HPC activities, but that was too much of a workload. And so we hired another director here, and he's now, my colleague is now responsible for the HPC activities, and I'm focusing on the big data AI activities. I remain to be a coordinator and initiator of several large-scale projects, in particular in the Helmholtz as well. During these more than 10 years now, the research staff at SCC, at the Steinbuch Center for Computing, has, I was fortunate to increase that significantly. And I remained my roles and positions in the Helmholtz program. So today I was and I'm still our topic speaker and deputy program speaker in the Helmholtz program, supercomputing and big data, and then now the engineering and digital futures. And I'm very happy and fortunate that I'm a member of the Helmholtz Incubator Information and Data Science, and also I was appointed to the Helmholtz think tank by the Helmholtz president Wiesler. And last but not least, I'm very happy to see that event here, because I'm one of the, let's say, two co-initiators, one of the two fathers here of the Helmholtz Information and Data Science Academy, which is your host here for this Helmholtz Data Science Career Day today. So I was given 5 questions here beforehand. I will try to answer them briefly. So what is or what was the motivation for your research and work? Clearly, interdisciplinarity and generating new insights and knowledge. This is clearly number 1. Number 2 is working with young and talented people. And what now is also became sort of very motivating for me is to develop an organization, yeah, and also to shape the future of an organization and of research and also of people. So how does an everyday life of a data scientist look like? Actually, you can Google that, the answer to that question. I thought, well, I bring you my answer to that one. So how does my everyday life look like? So there are a lot of meetings, a lot of emails, writing proposals, writing reports. But what is for me most interesting and enjoyable during a day is working and talking with the young people in my institute. And the second point I would like to stress here, you need a balance. Family, sports, hobbies. In particular, in this time with Corona and the long times where we have been sitting at home in the home offices, there I think family, sports and hobbies, as far as you can do them or follow them, this is very important to have that work-life balance. Second slide, the most exciting experiences in your career so far. So I was thinking about that, and I focused on these 3 here. So I was very fortunate enough to visit the CMS experiment underground at CERN at the LHT accelerator. This is truly was an amazing visit there, and it really is in my memory like it was yesterday. Yeah, to see this big experiment there, like 100 meters below Earth. Then I was fortunate that I was able to listen to a speech listening to a speech of our Chancellor Merkel, so the head of state in that sense, at the 20th birthday party of the Helmholtz Association. That was really interesting. And I was also fortunate to see and meet inspiring personalities managing large research organizations like Jürgen Lüneck, former Helmholtz president, Rolf-Dieter Heuer, former CERN director, then Antoine Petit from France. He's one of the very few computer scientists who are actually leading large-scale research organizations worldwide, and also the today's president of the Helmholtz Association of Mavisia. Last question, or second last question, your present work. Well, I'm working on big data management and analysis, applied AI, interdisciplinary R&D, and shaping the era of digitalization and sustainability. So what were important turning points? Well, certainly the ones where I moved from one location and one position to the next. So when I was promoted to become the head of division and also the SSC director and professor here at KIT, I think this is natural, I would say. And the second question is, or the last question is, what is special about working at Helmholtz? Well, I couldn't answer that in 2 lines here. So I used here a whole slide on that one here, also in the Helmholtz style here. So what is very important here for you guys also to see is, working at Helmholtz, this offers you excellent working conditions and career opportunities. And in green here, I brought you some examples. I listed here some examples. There are smart people in Helmholtz, a lot of smart people. You have access to world-class, large-scale research facilities, as already mentioned by Andreas before. You have the chance to work on longer-term projects and ideas. You don't have to work on, let's say, an idea that lasts for 6 months. You can really work on very long-lasting ideas and projects. Then there is life on the Helmholtz Center campus. Yeah, if I look outside here, I see that life here on the Helmholtz Center campus here in Karlsruhe, and that is really different to ordinary university life. There are rich offers for further education and traveling and exchange. Yeah. And then on the right-hand side, what you can also see, there is less teaching duty than compared to universities, but you have all the chances to talk with students and get in touch with students, but the duty is lower. You find, which is very important, you find good food in the canteens which we have, and I think this is also very important. You definitely find friends, and if you're lucky enough, you also find your family and grow your family here in Helmholtz centers. And last but not least, there are opportunities to stay in science without becoming ultimately a professor. Yeah, there are many people who want to stay in science, but they are not able to get a professorship. And then at some point in time, they have to move to industry to feed their family. But in Helmholtz, you have the possibility to stay in science until your retirement without becoming ultimately a professor. You can stay here as a junior scientist, a senior scientist, project leader, division head, and so on and so on. And that is really unique in Helmholtz. And last, so you can work and research here with a purpose and with an impact in science, in industry, and in society. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Achim Streit, for this inspiring talk. I mean, the worst part, I would say, about the virtual format is that you cannot see the auditorium applauding now very heavily after these impressive examples of how to pursue a career in scientific data science in the Helmholtz Association. Obviously, you had a remarkable career, and it's truly inspiring for all the younger people joining us here. Before we hand over to the questions asked, let me ask you one question. What do you think is the most important computer science related skill that the young people with us today should focus on in the next semester?
The most important skill actually I would say, to express and to present yourself. It's not something specific for computer scientists, right? But really to present ideas and to be convincing there. And this also basically applies to all people. Yeah, but if you have good ideas and you cannot present them in a proper way, be it in a verbal form, like we are talking here, also in a written form, these ideas are sort of lost because they cannot be they cannot be given into the science system or to the society or with other researchers. I mean, of course, programming is also important, programming skills and creative thinking and so on. But actually, what I think here is, and what I actually also see with my PhD researchers that I have here is really to express yourself and come to the point when you are talking. That is I think very, very important.
Thank you so much. Danielle, there are some questions coming together in the chat.
Yes, we do have some questions, I think particularly from our younger viewers who are asking what possibilities and opportunities you see in research, maybe also in the Helmholtz Association, for researchers who are in their BA stage or MA, MS stage.
So I would say there are many opportunities because you get the chance to work in large scientific institutes and also large research projects. Many times they are multinational research projects and in various domains, be it in the core of information and data science, or be it in energy research, or in materials research, or in physics. And you can already start here at the bachelor and master level to work there. And we also have that here in SCC. We have many bachelor and master students working here and doing the thesis there, writing their thesis. What I always think is, and also looking back at my own career at the university. At the university, you typically sort of have, I don't want to sound so negative, but I mean you have that sort of this small world of the professor and this small research domain he or she is working in, the professor, and then you're doing work, and I often hear, okay, what happens to that work afterwards when you left? Well, it goes in the trash or somewhere else. You are just doing that because you have to write a master thesis. But here in Helmholtz, you really have the chance to work on large and long-lasting projects, and you know that you're not sort of wasting time here. You can really contribute to solving large and major research challenges that face society today.
Fantastic. So what would I have to do if I'm connected here to you now from Fiji Island, for example, to get in touch with you if I want to work with you in your lab, in your great computing center? What should I do next step?
Well, next step simply would be to drop me an email, and also look at job advertisements that we have. We have a lot of open and interesting positions, and that is important for you to know, guys. It's not only about pursuing a PhD. So to continue doing research and hard research and writing papers and doing and writing a PhD thesis and so on. But we also do have a lot of open positions for people who want to work in a research environment on projects. I mean, you can build up a cloud at a commercial company, or you can build up a cloud at a research organization. Like we are doing this right now with the Helmholtz cloud. Just to give you one example, or to work on AI topics. I mean, you can find dozens of jobs in the industry working on AI, but here in research, I think the situation is the whole setting is different, because you still can continue working with young and bright people, with students. You can be involved in teaching activities. When you're working here, you can have sort of like supervise your own master students there and bachelor students. And these are opportunities which you do not really get in industry. Yeah, there's last question here is about a link to open positions. Yeah, and there someone just posted it on the Helmholtz HIDA website. There's a job portal there where you can easily find, there it is, there's a job portal where you can easily find all the information and data science related jobs that exist in all 18 Helmholtz centers.
Thank you for this free advertisement. Wonderful. Danielle, do we have more questions from the audience?
We do. So the audience is wondering a little bit about the necessity of academic degrees. So is it necessary to have a master? Is it necessary to have a PhD? Wouldn't industry experience be beneficial? These are a couple of the questions that I'm summarizing here.
Yeah, so I would say yes, it is beneficial to have a master degree, because at least in Germany, I would say you you have the chance to get better payment. Yeah, it is not really necessary to do a PhD, I have to say. Yeah, it's you can find very interesting jobs also without a PhD. And in some positions, it sounds strange now what I say, sometimes it's probably also negative to have a PhD. Yeah, if you look into industry, because people then think, you are this crazy researcher, yeah, that has these flippy ideas, yeah, and you cannot really work there on certain topics. Yeah, so it really depends on what you want to do. If you are doing a master right now, definitely finish it. Definitely, yeah. Don't just stop it. Finish your master, and if you're interested then to stay, in research and in science, consider of adding a PhD afterwards. But as said, we have many people here also in STC that have no PhD, and they are meanwhile responsible for a lot of people and a lot of large-scale infrastructures of multi-millions euro of value. So there are career opportunities, both with having a PhD and without having a PhD.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Achim Streit. We could talk for, say, at least another hour, but we have to move on. So let me extend my wholehearted gratitude to you again for opening the program with such an inspiring talk. And I guess to everybody who got inspired as well by Achim Streit, check out the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, one of the strongest computer science faculties in all over Europe. And maybe if you really want to get involved, drop us or drop Achim Streit a line. Achim Streit, it was great having you, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of the day and tomorrow. Bye-bye.
All right, that was a fantastic start, and I hope you feel the same way as I do, that I'm very hungry for more.